A few months ago, my husband approached me with a weird request. I'd just become an assistant principal, and people were already asking me about becoming a school principal. I wasn't hearing it. I was blatantly resistant, as a matter of fact. My husband heard my bold resistance, and this was his request. Babe, I want you to stop saying no when people ask you about becoming a principal. You might be blocking your blessings. I heard what he said, even though I didn't want to hear it. I assured him that if I was approached with it again, I would just shrug or listen, but I would not say no. People asked me about it quite a few times after our conversation, but I remembered what I had said to my husband, and I didn't respond with any more bold no's. Today, I'm serving as the interim principal at my school. God opened my heart to take this position for however long it lasts by using my husband. While God positioned me circumstantially, I would not have been prepared if I had not listened. I'm telling you this story to remind you that God speaks to our husbands and we need to listen. I'm Deborah Cheek, founder of Believing Wives, and I'm so glad that you are here. We're beginning a two-part teaching on this thing that every wife needs, and that's the ability to listen. Has your husband ever said to you, "You don't listen"? I've certainly heard my husband say that to me before. There are times that when he says I'm not listening or I don't listen, he means that I'm just not listening to him in terms of actually hearing what he has to say. Other times, he means that I don't take his advice or do what he thinks is best. Either way, without assigning blame, right or wrong, as wives, we need to assess why our husbands don't feel listened to. And we need to know the issues that can arise from that. Research says that consistently not being heard can be exhausting and triggering, while being heard can be affirming and it can build trust. Clearly, listening is a key factor in relationship building. People want to feel heard. They want to be able to express themselves, and being listened to validates that our thoughts and feelings are important. The Bible prioritizes listening. In James 1:19, it says, "Understand this, my dear brothers and sisters. You must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry." Sometimes we get it mixed up. We are quick to speak and slow to listen. We're often formulating our response while the other party is talking, or we're planning our rebuttal before we even have the conversation. Proverbs 18:13 provides more support for listening. It says, "Spouting off before listening to the facts is both shameful and foolish." And lastly, Proverbs 18:2 says, "Fools have no interest in understanding. They only want to air their own opinions." We need to listen. Sometimes, with our spiritual selves, we think we are deeper and even, God forbid, holier than our husbands are. And we miss that God speaks to and through them as well. But we can be quick to listen. And if we choose to be quick to listen, there are blessings. Obviously, we know there are blessings when we listen to God. Isaiah 55:2-3 says, listen to me and eat what is good, and you will delight in the richest of fare. Give ear and come to me. Listen that you may live. There are blessings that come with listening. That scripture tells us to listen so that we can live. It could very well save our lives. And then we go on to Proverbs 19:20 that admonishes us listening to counsel and receiving instruction will help us to be wise in our latter days. Proverbs 1:5 says, "A wise man will hear and increase learning, and a man of understanding will attain wise counsel." As we listen to wisdom, we will become wiser and our lives will be blessed. We have to acknowledge that sometimes that wisdom that's going to bless our lives is going to come from our husbands. God desires to use our husbands to make us better, to grow and position us, and to help us to conform to the image of Christ. And if we aren't humble enough to listen, we're going to miss it. If we're not humble enough to listen, we're going to have to walk around some mountains more than one time. If we're not humble enough to listen, we're going to make some mistakes along the way. There's this final scripture that I want to share with you, Proverbs 12:15. It says, "Fools think their own way is right, but the wise listen to others." Our husbands fall in that category of others. The wise listen. And since we're wise wives, we listen too. If I could ask you to have one focus this week, it would be this: listen. Of course, I want you to prioritize listening to God. That impacts everything else. Secondarily to that, I want to challenge you to listen to your husband. Listen to hear his cares and concerns. Listen for his wisdom. Listen to hear what God might be saying through him. Can you commit to listening to your husband this week? That's the challenge. We're going to continue this teaching next week with strategies for increasing our capacity to listen to our husband's wisdom. Make sure that your notifications are on so that you don't miss it. Keep doing the work of change and growth. And remember, changed wives change lives.